All right, I'm going to go ahead and start recording this session. I know we don't have a whole lot of people in here yet, but we want to make sure to record it, get it on YouTube and Schoology so teachers can access it, and we might have people pop in as we get going. So today's session is Google Slides Advanced. So not super advanced, but we want to go further than just input things and add things to slides like we did last time. So what we really want to do today is we want to talk about that master view, making our own layouts and slides. That's very useful to keep other teachers or students from moving the things on your slides that you need to use. And along with that, adding placeholders, custom backgrounds. We're going to use the download as, we're going to publish to the web, add-ons, all kinds of fun stuff. And actually, I've got this on this slide too. So we're also going to talk about adding audio to slides. I've got a cool activity with that on there. And we're going to talk about closed captioning as well. And then hopefully, if we've got time, I'm just going to talk about other ways to use Google Slides. I have a whole presentation on, it's called Google Slides, No More Slideshows. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. It depends on how much other advanced topics I guess I have to talk about. So without any further ado, let's get going. So I'm going to go to a Google slide here. And the first thing we're going to talk about today is Master View. So Master View is kind of useful, and it's great as we're sharing templates with students. So I'm really going to talk about two things at once here. One is Master View, and one is sharing a template with students. And so what I mean by that is in our apps like Schoology, we can share Google Drive assignments. We can share Google resources like this Venn diagram with the students as editable copies. It will make a copy for them, and the students can type on this Venn diagram and they can send it back. So in the digital world now, we can create some of the graphic organizers and things we were already creating on pencil and paper. We can do that digitally as well. Now, there's many more things we can do other than graphic organizers and digital worksheets and that. I don't want to make you believe that's the end all be all, but I know some folks, they're just starting to dip their toes into this blended learning, and we want to give you the option to create some templates and create some easy things to share with kids. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about sharing with templates. I'm not giving the kid a slideshow to click present and actually go through and watch anything. I want the kids to actually do something. So I'm going to give them this Venn diagram. I'm going to use Schoology Google Drive assignments. They'll have their very own copy of this, and they'll click on here and they'll start typing in these text boxes. Now, when you do this, there's a couple things at play here. First of all, I have mine set up using Master View, which is what we're going to get into in a second, so where kids cannot delete certain things. However, you're going to see these text boxes. I have a kid who could delete these. So what we want to do, first of all, as we're starting to use Google software, especially Google Slides with students, is we ease students into the software. We do some things together. We do some basic stuff like this Venn diagram together to get them used to the same settings that you had to learn in order to make your slides. So things like undo. So if a kid deletes their text box, they can simply click undo. We also might show them how to insert text box, so they can put text boxes on whatever you give them. And then obviously down the road, we show them how to insert video, insert images, and do all kinds of things to make a rich slide themselves. But we want to make sure they have the tools to fill out, complete this template, and turn it back in. All right, so let's get on to Master View. Why my word bears and koala bears is not clickable. So I'm going to go to a fresh slideshow here. And you probably know that when you come over here to layout, you have all these layouts that are already made for you. We have a title slide, a section header, a title, and a body. And when you click one of these, it's going to make your slide that particular type of layout. So you just click in the box, you type that %, you click in here, and you type that text. Now, if you don't already know, when you add new slides, you can click this arrow right here, and you can add new slides with that particular layout. So if I want a title slide, I click title slide, and it's already got a big bold title, and it's already got a spot for a subtitle. And if you don't like layouts, which I don't, a lot of times I will click here and I will simply add a blank slide. So these are the layouts that are available. What I want to show you today is, let's delete these, is we are going to edit those layouts. We are going to make our own template. We are going to make our own layout that's in the background there. So I'm going to go to View and Master. And you'll notice when I go to View and Master, here are all of the layouts that I just showed you are available. You have the title slide. You have the section header. You have the title and body slide. You have all these layouts that they already have made for you. Well, I'm going to commandeer these. So I'm going to take this first one right here, and it says click to edit the master style, and I am going to get rid of everything they have on here. So let me share a few things with you. Out here to the far left, this is my slide deck. If I go back out here, this will take me to the actual slide. If I click View and Master, this little running list of slides here, these are my layouts. These are my masters. So out here, the slide deck, the actual slide, and here is me editing that layout. So I'm going to take this first layout that I commandeered, and I'm going to start by changing the background. And let's change it to a light blue. And then I'm going to come in here to this layout, and I'm going to insert a circle. Stretch it out so I get my Venn diagram on here. I'm going to copy and paste, put the next one right here. And now I'm going to take these two circles. I'm going to use my control button to highlight them both at the same time. I'm going to make them transparent, and I'm going to make the border weight just a little bit thicker. All right, so now I have my Venn diagram. So before I get any further, I want you to see something. I'm going to come out here to my slide deck itself. So here's the actual slide in edit mode, or I could play it in present mode. But we're really talking about edit mode, having the kids be able to do something with this today. Notice when I click these circles, I cannot touch them. They are built into the layout, so they cannot be touched. Very useful if you're trying to share something for the kids. That's one less thing a kid can delete. So anything I don't want the kids to touch, I can go to View, Master, and I can set up this template in here so that they cannot touch it. Let's continue by inserting some word art, and I'm going to put bears, and we're comparing bears to koala bears. I might actually spin this here. There we go. Copy, paste, and let's change this one to koala. And I'm just going to put koala for the sake of space. All right, so right now we have a Venn diagram. And that's all I'm going to do on Master View. And here's why. Actually, I'll mess it up on purpose to show you why. If I would go in here right now and insert a text box, and then come back here to my slide deck, I can't click that text box either. And that's no good. We don't want the kids to click our circles. We don't want them to click the bears or the koala, but we do want them to click the text box. So that's an important distinction here when you're using Master View. Anything you don't want the children to touch on this template, you put it in View and Master. And anything you do want them to manipulate, we can come out here to the slide deck itself and insert it, something like a text box. And voila. Now, the one thing I don't like about text boxes is they're invisible. So when I click it, it's there, but the kids don't know it's there. So often, especially with the Venn diagram, I'll go ahead and put in a bullet point so the kids can see where to click and where to go. But again, the more you train your kids, the less you have to build on here. You might get your kids to the point where they can simply click insert and text box, and they can put a text box right on anything you give them rather than having to use the ones you put on there. But for the sake of this assignment, let's go ahead and put text boxes on this entire thing. And voila, I have a Venn diagram. I cannot click the word bears. I cannot click the circles, but I can click these three text boxes that I put on the slide deck themselves. If I share this with my students using Schoology Google Drive assignments, they can fill this out and they can send it back to me. Now let me show you something else here. I'm going to delete this entire slide. You're like, oh no, why'd you do that? Well, here's why. I didn't really make a slide, I made a layout. So if I come here and choose new slide with layout, you're going to notice that what used to be a title slide that I commandeered, I changed, there it is right there. I can choose that layout and I can add that type of slide. So not only are we making this so the kids can't touch it, but we're literally changing one of these layouts. So if I need more slides like this, I can simply add them. And then anything I need to put on the title slide or anything I need to have kids actually touch, remember, I can insert it on the slide itself. So that's master view. So let's do a quick review of that. We found that under view, master, and we took one of these pre-made layouts and we just got rid of it and we put whatever we wanted on here. So let's try something different here. Here's one I've done before. I'm going to drag over. Maybe. I am going to grab from my other screen assignment I've made before. There it is. Coordinate graphing. This is always a good activity to try to make digital. Sometimes we say math can't be done digital. Well, it can. And I did that with this assignment. So take coordinate graphing. So once I put this on my master view here, again, I'm in the master view. I put my grid here because I don't want the kids to touch it. I put my directions here because I don't want the kids to touch it. I put the points here because I don't want the kids to touch them. And now I can close master view. Now you're saying, well, where'd that go? Remember, I simply made the layout. Now I have to come up here and add a new slide with that layout, and voila. And all I would need to do is to put some circles on here. And when I design mine, I put them right over here. Control copy, control paste, and you can very quickly paste, 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 and put some circles over here for the kids to use. Now remember, we put the coordinate graph on master view so kids can't touch it. We put the directions on master view so kids can't touch or delete it. And we put the coordinates on master view so kids can't touch it and delete it, so they don't say, I didn't see the directions, I didn't see what we're doing. But they can technically delete these circles, and that is so because we have to put them on the slide itself. They have to be on the slide deck so a student can come out here and actually manipulate them. But worst case scenario, kid deletes a circle, we undo, or we simply teach our students how to come up here and insert a shape. And they can insert their very own circle right here where they need to if they happen to delete it. And you'll get a kid or two that instead of inserting a circle, will come up here and insert a star. And maybe they'll graph stars instead of circle. I don't really care. At the end of the day, I want to make sure they are graphing the points I asked them to do. This is really easy for me to check and grade at the end, but they can't delete the things that are important. The grid itself that I made, the directions, and the points. So again, everything I don't want them to touch goes into view master, commandeer one of these layouts, and then come out here, and when you add a slide, out here to the slide deck itself, add a slide with that layout that you made, and now put the things that need to be manipulated out here on the slide itself. This is where you're going to put your circles. This is where you're going to put your stars. This is where you're going to put whatever you want the kids to drag into place to graph or write on or sort or whatever you want them to do. You're going to put it out here on the slide deck itself. All right, so that is master view in a nutshell. Let's go on to one of this activity. So this is going to be, this is also a master view or student templates, but this is a teacher who has created something for response to literature for Frances Pinnell. Again, we're starting to do more digital things on our computer. So she simply made this chart, this cause and effect chart on a Google slide to share with kids. If we go in here to view master, you'll see that everything that that she doesn't want them to touch or delete is here in the master view. And out here on the regular slide, we've got these text boxes that we can easily type in. So that's a really cool way to do that. Now, let me show you one other thing here. Yeah, let's go back here. I'll show you one other thing you can do with this as well. Rather than just putting text boxes, we can also, let's delete these text boxes. When we go to view and master, one thing we can do is insert placeholders. And placeholders are kind of cool because if I put a title placeholder right here, there we go. When I come out to the slide itself, it's going to say click to add title. So it's going to tell you to click to add words. Now the problem is you can't really edit that. It says click to add title, and that's not really a title, so it doesn't always work perfectly, but that is another alternative if you want a box that says click to add text here. The other alternative I like, but you're going to have to bear with me on this for a second, is if I go to master view, let's get rid of this one, and let's insert placeholder, and we're going to do a body text. And I'm going to put it right here. Now, it looks really, really messed up. I know, it's okay. Insert body text. Placeholder, body text. I know it doesn't look right. That's just the way they have it formatted. Now, one thing I can do is if I think my kid's writing is going to be too big, I can go ahead and highlight all this and change the font. I can change the size. I can change everything right here on my template. So again, insert body text, and I'm going to highlight all this and change the font size. All right. Now, the reason I did that insert body text is this. When I come out to the slide deck, now it says click to add text. So what we did is we added a placeholder. Again, you might not want to do that. You might simply add a text box. You might simply tell your students to add their own text box. But by adding that placeholder, it does say the words click to add text. And we did that by view, master, and then on this master view, we inserted a placeholder. Now, again, it looks a little funny on your actual template, but this is what it looks like on the slide itself. It says click to add text. All right. So that is master view, and that is making templates. Let's show you a few more templates before we get going here. And I got lots of things on my screen here, so you'll have to forgive me. Let's go to, where did it go? Here it is. So here's another template, maybe for teachers of older students. And this is basically someone has put a box here, put a picture, put words, and we've basically taken the time to create this thing to make it look like a Twitter. And so it's kind of cool. This one isn't in master view, but you could put it in master view, but it's kind of cool because you could give the kids this, and the kids come up here to this picture, and they choose replace image, and they put another picture in here. They choose the famous person and replace that. They type something new. They give them a Twitter handle, and then all these fake tweets here they can change as well. So it's kind of funny. We can make templates for all kinds of things and have the kids fill it out, and it's kind of an interesting, engaging assignment that's a little bit different than the normal here, and they basically make a fake Twitter page. This could be kind of fun for reading, where you have to pick a character from the story. You have to give them a Twitter handle that makes sense with the character's characteristics. And then you might say, I want at least 3 tweets that show me that you understand the problem or the conflict in the story. I want you to tweet at least one retweet from one person showing you understand the relationship between them and other characters in the story. You can do whatever you want to this, but it's kind of a fun, creative way to respond using a template rather than just writing an essay or answering questions too. So there's lots and lots and lots and lots of templates you can make to send to students, and they don't have to be one slide like this either. So one I have in here, in this particular, this is essentially a hyperdoc, and there's lots of people online that do these way better than I do. But essentially what I'm doing with this is instead of making one slide, I give them my kids several slides that they're going to work themselves through. So on each slide, again, some of this stuff is in the background. Some of this stuff is right here on the slide deck itself for them to drag and manipulate. And I have those little placeholders here to click and add text. So when I give this to my students, they are going to go through this entire slideshow like a packet and fill this out. So it's a good way to create a digital activity for the kids to do. This works for some subjects, doesn't work for others. And it's always fun to link off or to have some sort of activity at the end where you have to create and make something yourself using Google Slides. It's always a fun way to do it. Yeah, so that's kind of like a hyperdoc. So that's another template, but it's a multiple page template. So let's talk real quick before we get going too much further about adding some content. So last time we went through this entire, I'm going to get rid of some stuff, and I'm going to add a blank slide. Last time we went through this insert menu over here, And we talked about how to add just about everything. I do want to make sure you remember when you add text boxes or word art, and remember word art is turning your text into an image. So it's easier to shape, resize, color, do all kinds of stuff too. But I want you to remember that we can change the color of all this. And I want you to remember that when you come up here to fonts, you can always click more fonts. Click more fonts and you will actually go out to the internet, and Google has tons and tons and tons of options for you. So if you want to start getting crazy with some of your presentations and some of your things, definitely go out and find these. And you'll see the ones that are checked are the ones I already have in my Google, and the ones that are not are ones I can add. And you simply select what you like, and I like that oxygen one, and you click OK, and it's going to add it to your Google. So now I have oxygen. Now oxygen, that's kind of funny. Now I have oxygen down here in my list that I can access anytime. You'll see my list is probably a little bit more inclusive than yours because I have added so many different fonts. Other thing I want to remind you to is how to insert video again. We can insert video onto any slide. We simply go find our video and we can pop it from YouTube right onto here. But if you have your video in your Google Drive, if you have your video somewhere else on your machine, you can simply add a video to a slide as well. Now, the reason I point that out again, because if you looked at my hyperdoc I made over here, I've got the Indiana Standard and the activity we're doing. I've got some instructions. And then part of this, I actually have a video. So I have a video embedded right here to this slide presentation so that if kids are still struggling with this skill before they do the activities, they can watch that video. Now, I have a kindergarten teacher friend over at East Washington that used this and went kind of another step with it too. So she made her sub plans using Google Slides. And it was kind of nice is the substitute teacher could literally put this on the projector, and there is the teacher's video that she put right on her slide. All the sub has to do is play, and the students hear a presentation right from the teacher. The second slide has a timer. They have a timed activity, and so she put a video timer, and you can go to YouTube and find all kinds of videos of timers right there, and you just insert this YouTube video right onto this slide. And so this whole lesson is kind of scripted for the substitute teacher all the way down to the teacher actually reading the book to the read aloud to the students that day, because she put it on this Google slideshow and she put the videos of her giving instructions and giving things to the students. And there's her sight word practice there. So that's a pretty cool way to use Google Slides and a pretty cool way to add video as well. Nice job, Miss Oakman. All right, so let's also talk about audio. I did not talk about audio last time, but I want to show you this. So this was an activity my friend Miss Arnold did with her class over at Westview. And each student, they went to Google Canvas, and you have access to an app called Google Canvas and one called Google Drawings, where kids can draw and make pictures. But we know we can also do that by inserting shapes here in Google Slides. Anyway, the kids went to Google Canvas and they drew with their mouse their own pictures, and then they typed into this Google slideshow their very own story. So what they basically created was a book here. And they made these books and they shared them with some kindergarten friends, and they basically went up here to present and went through this slideshow step by step and read their book to their kindergarten friends. So this was one by from a student named Kinley, and we took this a step further. If you did not know, you can also, on a Google slide, insert audio. And if you insert audio, it's going to look for an MP3 file. And what students can do with their Chromebooks is they have the ability, if you just go type Chromebooks MP3 recorder, this is the first thing will pop up, and it works on our student Chromebooks. And this app will load right to your kid's Chromebook, and they can simply click it and record anything they need to record. And it's very easy. It goes right to their Google Drive, and it's very easy to add to their presentations later. So what this student did, or I guess I did for her one day, is I went to insert audio, and I selected that file, and make sure you give your files a good title so you can add the right one, the title page, page 1, page 2. But when you click this little button right here,
There Once Was a Reindeer by Kenley,
it will play that audio. And what's even better is if we come here to present, I can literally play
There Once Was a Rain.
Oh, skipped ahead too fast.
There once was a reindeer who swallowed a glow stick. He swallowed the glow stick to give him a good kick. With all that string, I don't know why he swallowed some string. Someday you'll know.
All right. And so the student can actually narrate their entire story here as a Google slide and share it, turn it in, read it to someone else, or even there read it to themselves to narrate it. So that's inserting audio. So I think for student Chromebooks, this is the first one that pops up. It works nicely. It's an app on the device, and it will save it right to your Google Drive. It's very easy for them to use. And they simply click record, give it a title, and then they can insert this into their Google Slides to record themselves. So that's the add audio in Google Slides. The other thing I want to talk about is this. And you may not know this, but if you click present in Google Slides and then turn on closed caption and start talking, it will write everything you are saying. So this is kind of cool. And it's pretty quick. I think it's keeping up with me. Yep. It's kind of nice. If you're making slideshows to present to your class, you can turn this on and it might help some students to see what's being said. This also might help in a virtual learning situation. So maybe they don't have the best audio. It's hard for them to listen at home if you're presenting. You can turn this on, present your screen, and they could read what you're saying as well. But I've also seen some tech friends use this for speech classes or to have kids practice reading to themselves. You can put a passage on a slide here and have the students read the passage, and it will say right up here every word the kid says. So sometimes they can catch their own mistakes because if they say a word wrong, it will pop it up here the wrong way and they can see that difference. So this might be used for speech as well. So this is closed captioning. I'm going to escape to get out of this, and we find that by clicking present, and then all we do is come down here and we turn closed captioning on. And if you didn't know, there's also a little pointer here you can use if you're presenting, a little laser trail thing, but that closed captioning is right here. You turn it on, and if you don't like it at the top, you just click the little arrow here, and you can move it to the bottom. And now my closed captioning is at the bottom. So kind of a cool little feature you may or may not have known existed on Google. All right, next thing I want to share with you, kind of an advanced topic, I guess, is, and again, pardon me if you don't think some of these topics are advanced. I'm trying to think outside the box a little bit and some things we don't necessarily usually use Google for. I want students to think about how to use that. And this one is, let's go to not yet, not yet, not yet. Where'd it go? Well, I might have gotten rid of it. So sometimes I actually like to create diagrams, templates. Maybe one more. Oh, there it is. So this is actually, and you'll find these online all the time. This is actually a header that will fit into Google Forms just perfectly. If you have a picture that's this exact size, and I went down here to page setup, and it's 16 by 6.7 times 14.17 inches. And if you have a canvas that's exact size and you make a picture, that will fit in your Google form perfectly. Now you can make Schoology course logos this way. You can make all kinds of pictures this way, but I made this with Google Slides. So all I did was set the page, the size I needed, and then I simply put my Muncie Central logo here, I put my words, I put my Bitmoji, I put everything I wanted on here. I'm not sharing this with kids. I'm not presenting this as a presentation. All I'm using this is to create, because if you think about it, with Google Slides, we can insert text box, we can insert word art, we can insert pictures, we can collage. It's a free canvas to make things. Whereas sometimes with with Google Docs, adding pictures and text together and formatting gets a little wonky. We can simply drag and collage and build everything the exact way we want on Google Slides. And then we go to File, Download As, and you'll see right here, I can download this as a JPEG or a PNG. That's a picture file. So I'm literally using Google Slides just to make a logo or a banner or something pretty. And so a lot of you have done that too with Bitmoji classrooms. you've literally made it to create just that Bitmoji classroom or that dashboard or that landing page or something to put into another piece of software. And that's just a matter of knowing that when you create something in slides, it might not just be a slideshow, and you can download it as a different file format. So let's look at, here's my instructional technology corner. This is my dashboard on my Schoology page. And I've made all these buttons, and all these buttons are linked to different places on my Schoology page. And I simply use this to create these buttons, this banner at the top of my Schoology page. And I actually took this one a step further. We can file, and we're going to publish to the web. And I have a whole video on this, so I'm not going to go into it too deep. But when you publish your slides to the web, you can also get an embed code right here. And that embed code will help you put this live into Schoology or your website or wherever you need so that all these buttons are live in there. So again, we can file, download this as a picture, as a PDF, as all kinds of things. And we can use Google Slides, not for presentations, but for creation software. Here's another good example of that. These are my newsletters that you guys get all the time. And one thing I like about this is when I file and download as a PDF, the links are actually live on a PDF. And actually, I like it better. If you're in open a Google Slide, it opens this little link menu down here. But when you turn this into a PDF, all of these hyperlinked words go directly to where they're supposed to. So if you've not clicked around yet, when I send you this newsletter and you open this, all these little hyperlinks are live. You can click them, you can go wherever they tell you to go. So this is a great way to make a letter for home, a newsletter. Again, I like it because your formatting is not limited. You can literally collage this page. You can move everything where you want it. Now, some folks say, well, this looks a little small. Well, don't think about that. The canvas itself might be small, but this is a sheet of paper. When you go give this to someone and they open up in a preview mode, this is what they're going to see. It's going to be a larger piece. If you ever need to print it off, you can print this off on a full sheet of paper. So it might be kind of small in here to make it, but when they see this in template mode in their email, or sorry, preview mode in their email, it's going to be much bigger. It just looks small here because I'm still editing and working on it. Great way to do a newsletter though. And same thing with a calendar. I tried to make a calendar the other day in Google Sheets because I like my boxes already. But then I had a hard time trying to add all the stuff I wanted and the links I wanted and doing the things I wanted. And so I went back and created it right here in Google Slides because, again, I can click all these objects. I can drag things around. I can move things around. I can make hyperlinks. Every single one of these logos links to a Google form. I just have like free reign of what I can do to this Google slide, and I can simply file, download as, and send this to you guys as a PDF, and all these links are live. So that's what I like about Google Slide to download as. Now, I also covered very quickly publishing to the web. If you need to share this on a website or get an embed code, those of you who are familiar with embed codes, file, publish to the web, and basically this will put this on the web in such a manner that you're going to get an embed code that you can copy and paste and put into a Schoology page if you want to embed it right into your Schoology page or a Google site or anywhere you need to. So that's kind of cool as well. We're about halfway through, so we're going to talk about some add-ons now. And so let's go back into my untitled slide here. And I want to talk about add-ons. So if you click add-ons here in your Google menu, there are lots of different things you can add on. If you click get add-ons, you will see them. Now, depending on your school district, and here in Muncie, these have to be allowed for you to install. Some of them are, some of them aren't, but feel free to look through here. And to be honest, what I do often is I go home on my personal device and I add an add-on, I play with it, I test it, I see what it does, see if it's useful. And so you can do that and see if an add-on is useful. And if you think it is, you can email me, you can email IT and see if they will allow that for install. I've got some installed already, and I have some useful ones here able for you to install already. There's a lot on here that you're able to install because we've already turned them on. So some of the ones that I've already installed on mine, first and foremost is Pear Deck, and we'll be talking about Pear Deck a little bit more lately, or a little bit more later, since we have the full version of Pear Deck now. But when you open Pear Deck is super cool. And actually, let me just go to my Pear Deck one I have on here. And again, we'll talk about Pear Deck more later. This is just kind of an intro. If I can find it. Here it is. So what's cool about Pear Deck is that when you open this add-on, it gives you different types of slides and questions that you can add to your presentation. So on mine, every time you see this bar down here, that means it's a Pear Deck interactive slide. So I can take the slideshow I was already going to do in class and teach, and I can add this slide that says, how well do you understand this? I went to this slide, says, what do you already know? This is a student written response. When you present using the start lesson button up here, it gives the kids a URL to go to, and they will go through your slideshow with you. They can only go to each slide you go to, but they will have the ability to answer the questions you put on there. Every time you add one of these questions and you see the bar down here, because I've added it to my pre-existing slideshow, it turns this into an interactive slideshow. So it's kind of cool. You can make something with the full purpose to do Pear Deck, but you can also take a slideshow you've done in the past and simply grab some of these Pear Deck question types and turn what you already have made into something a little bit more engaging and a little bit more interactive. And again, we'll talk about Pear Deck more later, but just know you can go ahead and play with it. It's on, it's available. You can come up here to add-ons and get add-ons and choose Pear Deck. Another add-on you already have is Nearpod. I've not played with the Nearpod add-on very much, but I know a lot of my teacher colleagues have. I've pretty much used Pear Deck, but feel free to go in here and play with the Nearpod add-on as well. Log in with your Google account. Again, you have the free version of Nearpod, so you won't be able to do everything, but you can create some different sort of student activity there as well. Other add-ons, let's come back here, that we have for you is icons. This is kind of neat. Because this will bring up some icons. If you make lots of slideshows like me, you're constantly looking for free pictures, free little icons. So you'll have some here already that you can use. It's called Flat Icon. And those are some options that will be available for you. Another add-on that I like is Unsplash. Now I like to use the Unsplash website. Mine's right up here in my bookmarks bar, but you can also add Unsplash to Google Slides or Unsplash to Google Slides. And it's really cool because it's professional photography, gorgeous professional photography that's free for you to use. So if you ever wonder where I get some of those cool pictures and backgrounds, it's Unsplash. Slido is one I just added recently, and I've not played with it very much yet, but it's got some student response type stuff to it. You can log in again. This will be the free version, so you'd be using your Google account, but it has some word cloud and some different ways students can respond. And then also we've added Hypatia on here. Yeah, Hypatia is kind of cool, and I've not played with this a whole lot yet either. And apparently I have to update my add-on here. Let's make sure it lets me do that, or we're going to stop right there. There we go. We're going to allow it. And so Hypatia was pretty cool because it's going to bring up this box to type math equations. Sometimes it's not easy to type math equations into Google Slides and the sort. And hopefully this loads. But I've got all these symbols that are pre-loaded in here, and I'm not even going to fake like I know what I'm doing here and creating this equation. But I can make whatever equation or formula or whatever I need and click insert, and it should insert this right into my slides. It looks like I might be getting an error. Nope, I'm gonna have to update mine. We'll jump ahead real quick. Oh, no, it worked, sweet. So you can insert that really easily, and that's something that I probably couldn't type normally as easy with special symbols, so that's Hypatia. So those are add-ons, and there's lots of other add-ons you can put onto Google Slides. And just so you know, there's lots of other add-ons for all Google software, for Google Docs, for Google Sheets, for Google Forms. lots of add-ons that do lots of cool little extra functions, kind of like our fonts over here, where we can, even though we have X amount of fonts already, we can add more fonts for more functionality. You can do the same thing with add-ons. And again, if it's something that's not able to be downloaded now, maybe it says your administrator won't let you download this, check it out on your personal device, play with it, test it, give me an email, give IT an email, and they can turn it on so it can be downloaded if it's a useful educational add-on. All right, so those are add-ons. So about 20 minutes left, doing good. Let's talk about different ways to use slides. And I've done this a little bit, so I don't know how much more we're going to need to go. Let's get rid of this, and let's go through some of my examples I have up here. So we've already talked about making templates for kids, and we talked about using view and master. And remember that master view allows us to create our own template, our own layout in here. And the beauty of that is the kids cannot click whatever we put in master view. Whatever we put in on the slide deck itself, they can touch, but they can't touch the stuff in master. This is the one I shared with from one of my fifth grade teacher friends. And we also talked about adding audio, and not just adding audio here, but this whole idea of the kids not just creating their own slideshows, but in this case, the students writing a book, the students adding their own digital pictures to the book they made with Google Canvas. So that's kind of cool. We talked about the fact that we can download as, so we can, whatever we make here, we can download as a picture, we can download as a PDF, we can publish it to the web, so it makes a good landing page in Schoology, it makes a great newsletter, it makes a great calendar. So really think outside the slideshow on Google Slides. It doesn't have to be just for slideshows anymore. We'll skip and come back to that one. Right here, again, I made this this header, this form header, and I simply made it. I changed the canvas of my Google slide, and I downloaded this as a PNG. So you can make all kinds of logos, pictures, and stuff right here. We'll come back to that one as well. We talked about making other cool templates other than just traditional worksheets. Anytime we can avoid traditional worksheets and do something more creative and more creation in the students' hands, we want to do that. And then we talked about doing whole presentations. This is with the Pear Deck add-on that kids can respond to. Or in this case right here, I made this hyperdoc that the kids are going to complete, watch videos, and then create at the end of it and can respond to adding templates. And then we talked about my friend Miss Oakman here, who made her sub-plans on Google Slides. So the kids could easily see her face and see her message for the day and hear her message for the day when she was out. I do have a whole presentation. I talk about Google Slides more than slideshows, so I'm not going to get too deep today, but I do want you to think about other uses and ways to get tricky with this. And actually, let's jump to this one first. No, this one. All right. So there are often times where I would have my kids make slideshows and it just gets old. And you've done this. And every slideshow looks the same. There is a title slide, and there is a slide with a picture with some words to the right of it. And then there's a slide with a picture with some words to the right of it. And it gets kind of boring. I really like slides for the fact that the kids have this ability to create because they have this blank template, but the traditional slideshow gets a little boring too. So I want you to think about, does it have to be a slideshow? In this case, and I've done this often with my kids, I made them create one slide. And what I like about one slide is they have to be a little bit more creative. They have to get collagey. And this is kind of like some graphic arts here. We're adding different things. We're making it fit. We're making it look good. We're not just throwing the one thing on the slide and moving to the next slide. We have to get this whole thing to look to work well together. So I really like creating one slide with students. I give them a rubric. I tell them the things that need to be on their slide, and you watch their brain shake a little bit as they go, "Oh, I can't get everything to fit." Well, you got to get creative and making it collagey, making it look good. And really, it should be like a poster, something I can print off. And again, one slide, I can come up here and print this off if I need to and put it in the hallway or put it elsewhere. And again, they're going to flip out and say, well, this is way too small. Don't think about it in editing mode. Think about it printing off on a full sheet of paper or in present mode where I can see everything clearly. but it's another way to kind of change their thinking a little bit of the traditional slideshow and really make something that's kind of rich here. This is one thing my friend Miss Bueller at East Washington created, and they had to pick a frieze from the Capitol Rotunda in DC, and they had to tell the story of it, and they had to include certain things. They had to give information about it. They had to tell what was important about it. They had to, in our rubric, we made them have pictures and maps, and we even put a video on here. And we put all this into one Power Pack slide, and it's a cool little creation that each kid made. The other thing like that I want to share with you is this guy right here. I thought this was kind of interesting. And really, at the end of the day, this is just a slideshow. But we thought outside the box a little bit. We wanted to present this, and these are 8th grade students. They were going to present it, and we weren't going to present it linearly. We weren't going to go from slide 1 to slide 2, from slide 3. We kind of designed this like a web page. So everything on here is hyperlinked. So if you click heart here, it goes to a slide with the heart. If you click the home button, it comes back to the main slide. When you click Bill Nye saying we got issues, it goes to a slide talking about circulatory system problems. You click the home button, it comes back to the main page. So what we did here is we linked each one of these objects here. We hyperlinked, but instead of hyperlinking to another website, we hyperlinked it to a certain slide. And then on each one of these slides, we made this little home button and hyperlinked it back to the first slide. And I thought this was kind of fun. You can do this with Google Sites too, but if you don't have access to Google Sites or don't want to make a Google Sites, you can kind of do this with a Google slide. And it's kind of a fun way to do a presentation and really think about the pathway and what needs to link to what. It can really kind of stretch your brain a little bit and be a little bit more creative way of creating a presentation rather than just going all straight through. All right, so I think that's about all I have for you. I do want to do a presentation on Google Slides more than slideshows and tell you even more of these little things I have. But today I just wanted to take the extra little few things we didn't discuss in Google Slides basics and make sure you knew where you could find them and how you could do them. And so a quick little recap. Remember we talked about this master view, view master. And you've got these templates that are already created. You can commandeer these templates and you can put whatever you want on them. And when you come out to the slide deck itself, that cannot be touched. This is a great way to make hyperdocs, graphic organizers, worksheets, all kinds of stuff you want for kids. And again, I caution you of just doing graphic organizers and creating digital worksheets, but there's a time and a place, and sometimes we need that. So just know you have that tool. I would have you really think about not just doing this, but taking a step further and doing some of the things we talked about back here, where we have the kids creating, or in this case, this template is a little bit more creative, or creating their own slide or their own slideshow or their own work too. But know that that master view exists. It's a great way to make, we're using this a lot lately for Fontana Spinell activities, where the kids are dragging letters or sorting or moving things around. Again, anything on the slide deck itself here can be manipulated and moved, kind of like my coordinate graph I showed you earlier. And anything that is in the master view cannot be touched. We talked a little bit, I guess I skipped custom backgrounds, but just know, we talked about this last time, backgrounds. Not only can you choose colors, but you can choose images. So this is a good way to put, you could put your coordinate graph back there. You could put a map back there. You could put all kinds of images as your background, or you can use crazy pictures from Unsplash like I do. I often use Unsplash pictures because they look really good. We talked about inserting audio. And on a Chromebook, we said we're going to use this app right here. It's the first thing that pops up on Google Chrome when you say Chrome MP3 recorder. It's called Habla Cloud, I believe. And then in this particular case, students wrote their own book and they inserted audio, and they literally have a recording of their words on each page. We talked about adding video, and I showed you my friend Miss Oakman doing video sub-plans, but adding videos to your documents to give kids that extra bit of information. And then we also talked about, if we're in present mode, we can click close captioning, and it will write down everything we are saying. This can be a good way for kids to keep up with what you're doing on the board if you have a slideshow or virtually, or even having kids read what's on the screen to themselves to check for errors. All right, and then we talked about download as. You can make all kinds of great little templates right here, and you can create pictures and logos and diagrams and tables and all kinds of fun stuff and download as a picture, and you can insert that picture into Schoology. You can insert that picture into anything. So I actually use my Google Slides a lot for graphics design and making pictures, but I also use it also for my newsletters and my calendars, because I can download those as a picture. I can download those as a PDF document, and all the links are live. Then we talked about add-ons, and I said, come in here and get add-ons. And here are some that I said they're already available for you in Muncie. And we went through them, and I said, definitely check out Pear Deck because we have the premium version of that. And so definitely check out add-ons. And then finally, we talked about different ways to use Google Slides with templates. We talked about using presentations here, or hyperdocs that kids can go through. We talked about using it as your sub-plans, and then the newsletters and other things. So that in a nutshell is my Google Slides Advanced. There's lots more to talk about. I do want to do a whole session on no more slideshows and show you some of these things and how they work and actually different ways to use them. But today I just wanted you to see the tools on Google Slides other than the basics. Have a great afternoon, Muncie Community Schools. You know how to get a hold of me, and always check my Schoology page for updates and information.